Okay, so back, I'll call this part 2 of the outdoor fireplace poker. So what I'm going to be making now is the handle end of the poker. All right, it's a simple but nice looking handle. All right, so I have the piece hot in the forge. Basically, again, taper, drawing out rounding, making an eye, a nice decorative twist in it, and it looks nice. So that's what we'll do. So again, starting the same basic way as before, making a taper and drawing it out. This is a common theme along a lot of items that I make, and I see a lot of other people make. It's just, you could just bend a circle in it or twist it and say, okay, you got it, there is your handle, hold on to it now. But it just doesn't really look nice. This is a simple yet nice looking way to put a handle on something. I haven't found a person yet who doesn't like it. So it's little things like that just make a piece look nice. A lot of my friends ask for these for their outdoor fire pits during camping, or this time of year. It's September 22nd today, the 23rd. It's Thursday, whatever day it is. But it's outdoor fire weather, so this is a common thing that a lot of people make. So here I will draw it out a lot thinner, because this is just the handle end. It's not the working end of the poker. So this can be a lot longer, narrower taper. As I say, it's not the working end of the piece. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm actually going to pause the video, because all I'm doing for the next few heats is drawing this out, and it's going to be kind of monotonous. So I'm going to pause the video quick. Okay, so back on video. I drew it out to a longer, narrower taper. You can probably see here. What I'm going to do next is round that area off. So again, if you want to go from square to round, you start off with square, 4 sides, 4 corners, knock down those 4 corners, and I have 8 sides and 8 corners. Octagon. That's fairly round at that point. The more round you want it, the more corners you hit down. Alright? So that's how you do that. It's the same basic idea for making anything round. So again, knock down the corners. When you get towards the end, remember, don't hit it so hard, because you'll just crush it flat. That's not what you want to do. So as you get further down to the point, make your hammer hits lighter, or you'll just end up crushing it and totally distorting it compared to just changing its shape. So again, that's one pass. It's gone from square to octagon. I'll do that one more time to round it off more. And again, the more round you want it, the more corners you hit down. So again, one more time, hitting the corners down, lighter towards the end. And you just want to keep hitting the high spot. That's all you want to do. If it's getting hard to see or you have a lot of scale, just brush the scale off quick. And just hitting the high spot is all you're doing. And the more round you get, the lighter your hammer blows become. Because you don't really want to distort it or change the overall. You really don't want to change the shape of the parent stock too much. You just kind of want to smooth it out. So that's good and round. The next step is going to be basically like making the wall hook, the belly of the wall hook, as I call it, because I'm making a little eye the same way, and then making this curve over the horn of the anvil, but bringing it all the way around and making a complete circle. So I'll start it over the edge of the anvil, then I'll move the camera closer to the horn so you can see what that looks like, especially if you didn't see the wall hook video. So, give a small eye over the face of the anvil. Again, rotating the piece and the hammer to close that little eye. Okay. So now we have the little eye at the end, and I'll put the piece back on the fire and move the camera so you have a better view of the horn. There we go. That might be better. Make it a better view of the work being done right on the horn. Maybe. Maybe that's good. We'll go with that, see what that looks like. Okay, so again, cooling off that little eye, I have to hit it. So that eye's cooled off. Now, bending this around the horn, you're hitting just past the curve of the horn to bend it. I'm going to get a little more heat further back in the stock to bring that around. But you can see it's about halfway there. Let me get some more heat further back here. That. There we go. So now I'll just keep working that around the horn to really shape it. So now what I want to do is again put some heat here and bend that back up. I'll do that by hitting here. That'll curl this back up and center the eye more. The eye of the handle more. So I'll come and hit the back side of the eye. A little more. That'll push that down more into center. Working over the horn and just in the air, you can make some adjustments to the eye. Again, where it's hotter, it's going to bend easier, so keep that in mind. If you have all the heat over here and you want to really tweak it over here, that's not going to work. You have to put the heat where you want it. But that's fairly round. It's a little... It's a little better. If the edges on the back of the curve are a little sharp, go ahead and just knock the edges down. But when you do that, try to keep again the bottom side of the piece flat against the horn, so it does the work without moving too much, so it doesn't distort your eye too much. So now we've got the handle end done. Yeah, I have the handle end. I'm going to pause the video. The next thing we're going to do is twist it. I'm going to pause the video and get this section good and hot and go over to the forge, or to the vise, excuse me. Okay, so I got the piece just about hot enough to twist. So I'm just going to crank it up just a little bit. Then show you how to do that. Again, same thing as the wall hook video. It's just ornamental. Serves no other purpose whatsoever. It just looks nice. Nice accent piece. There's a lot of different twists you can do. Maybe that'll be one of the next videos, just different twists, different ways to make things look nice. This is just the simplest one. Okay, so put it in the vise. One full rotation. This is going to be a tight twist, so it's going to be a little difficult, but it'll make it. You want to do this in one heat because you'll never get it back to where it's supposed to be if you can't do it in one. Now, this is pretty crooked right now. I'll show you what I mean. The handle is a little off. So what I'll do while it's still fairly warm, I'll put it back over to the horn and do some adjustments there. Now I'm not hitting on the twist, because that would damage the pattern I've made. And that's a lot better than what it was. What I'll do is I'll get it really hot and I'll hit it with a wooden mallet. It's always a good idea to have a wooden mallet, because if you went through and put a design into something, if you have to hit it, you don't want to hit it with a steel hammer because you'll damage the design you did. So get a wooden mallet and just have the piece nice and hot for when you do it. The hotter the better. You really want it to move easily. You don't want to distort the work you already did. You just want it to move. So get it nice and hot. The hotter, the better at this point. Just be careful not to burn up the eye on the handle that you made, because it is much smaller and that will heat up. This is also another good point when I said to have some extra coke around, because coke will work as a blanket as well. The heat comes up from the forge, but if you put some coke on top of a specific area, it helps to hold the heat there. So that's one thing to remember. You don't always lay the piece on the top or bury the whole thing in the fire. You can use some coke on top of a specific area to help hold the heat in that area. Okay. So that's good and hot. Oh, that's still a little crooked. So what you want to do here is kind of support the end as you're hitting it. Basically look which way it's leaning. If it's got to go the opposite direction, hit it in that direction. And it'll move quite easy if it's good and hot, even with a wooden mallet. So you want to be careful that you don't overdo it. You know, hit, if you have to hit twice, hit and look, hit and look. Don't just keep railing away at something. You can also use the anvil if it's bent a little below the bend, if it's got a bow in it. You can kind of, this has a little bit of a bow in it still. Look down the piece. That's better. So that's a lot better. So now you've got the twist done in the handle. All right, and it's fairly straight. It's not perfectly straight, but it's pretty good. So while that's still hot, wire brush it and apply some wax to it. Now again, where it's twisted is still very hot. The wax will probably just burn right off. But it's a good time to apply wax to the handle eye, because that is going to be cooler than the rest of it. And then also below the twisted area. So get those parts first. And obviously the eye is going to cool off faster because it's thinner. So do that. But I say right where the twist is, it's just burned off so quick it's not doing anything. See, it's so hot it just burned off like a candle. So get the thinner areas first, because A, they weren't as hot, and B, they're thinner, they'll cool off faster. See, it's still a little too hot there. So just get that part and saying get below the twist a little bit to where it's still warm. I usually don't worry about waxing the bottom because it's just going to burn off when you put it in the fire anyway. I usually just do the handle, the twist, and as low as the wax is hot, as low as the heat is in the piece to melt the wax. So that twist area is still way too hot. But the area right around it is just about perfect. It's smoking, it's sizzling, but it's not burning off. And actually the twist is just starting to cool off enough to smoke and not burn. Now I'll give you that nice darkened color, a nice kind of antique looking color, like a seasoned cast iron pan, or iron that's been sitting outside for years. A nice kind of weathered look. So and again, this is mild steel, so once you're happy with it, you can just cool it off. There's not enough carbon in it to change it at all. It's not going to harden on you. So you can just go ahead and dunk it in the water. All right. So I'll do that. Now, if you're using a plastic 5-gallon bucket and the bottom's hot, don't just throw it in there, because there might be enough heat to melt a hole in the plastic bucket. That's what's nice about a steel bucket. You drop something in there, you can just drop it in there. I got a plastic 5-gallon bucket right now, so if you drop a piece in there, it's hot. Just so it's cooling off doesn't mean it's not hot enough to melt through the plastic. And that's how you make the handle end of a fireplace poker. Like I say, the first part, the working end, was done in part number 1. It's going to be a separate video just because of the length. So watch both of them, and that's how you do that. All right? All right, have a good rest of your day, and on to the next piece. Have fun.